Please note that we are recording this session. So you probably got a note already as you logged into Zoom. Some people could not make it at this time, and so we are sharing the recording of this session on our website, and we'll provide the link in a few minutes so that everybody can access it. And if you know somebody who couldn't make it today, please, by all means, feel free to share the link or direct them to our website and they can find the information here. Olivia will be providing information on the call, what the eligibility is and the components. And then we'll have some time for Q&A. And all of us at the ConTex team are here to answer any questions and to support. So a little bit about ConTex. ConTex is a joint initiative between the UT system and Mexico's National Council of Humanities, Sciences, and Technologies, CONACYT, would be the equivalent to like the National Science Foundation in the US. ConTex was established in 2016. By these two institutions to support bilateral efforts to enhance academic and research collaborations between Texas and Mexico. So the fellowships that ConTex provides, in this case, the doctoral fellowships that is the topic of today, is and the call that is open is to provide students with outstanding educational opportunities for doctoral studies in the UT institutions that prepare them for research leadership and global impact in many areas of research, as Olivia will describe later on. Our partners are the University of Texas System, which is one of the largest systems of higher education in the US. There are 14 institutions and nearly 256,000 students. Each year, UT system institutions award more than 1/3 of all the undergraduate degrees in Texas and almost 2/3 of all health professional degrees. CONACYT is the National Council of Humanities, Sciences, and Technology in Mexico, and it's an autonomous public entity promoting scientific research, technological development, and innovation in Mexico. CONACYT supports Mexico's effort to increase its participation in the formation, acquisition, and transmission of knowledge at the international level. And so these two are our partners, and the call is currently open for the doctoral fellowships for Mexican students who want to study their PhDs in one of the UT institutions. We have been fortunate to award fellowships since 2017. And to this day, we have awarded 109 doctoral fellowships. Currently, we have 70 fellows who are active doctoral students at 7 UT system institutions. And this is like the best achievement that the ConTex office can celebrate, which is when the doctoral students graduate. And we have graduated so far 33 students. So our office has become over the years much more knowledgeable about these opportunities and calls, and especially Olivia provides amazing support to students as they work on their applications and helps them to be successful. So without further ado, Olivia will tell us more about the open call.
Thank you, Lupita. And once again, thank you, everybody, for being here. I just want to point out that throughout this info session, we're going to be talking in general terms. We're going to give you an overview of what the call contains and what the application process entails. But I would definitely recommend that everybody who's interested in this opportunity take the time to review the call in detail. There's their information, more detailed information that what we're going to cover right now. And if after you go over the call, you still have questions, you can always contact us, Contex, or you can contact ConACYT. But like I said, this is a general overview, and it's still very important that you review the application in detail. So what are the eligibility criteria to be able to apply to a ConTex-Conahcyt fellowship? It's very simple. Basically, you must have been accepted to a doctoral program at the time you apply. You cannot, apply if you're thinking of applying to a doctoral program, or if you're still waiting for your acceptance. You must have been accepted already. And you must be a Mexican national, or, and this is a question that we get pretty often, you must have dual citizenship. So it's okay if you have US citizenship also, but you must have Mexican citizenship, and you must have at the time of the application an ID, a Mexican ID, that proves that you have Mexican citizenship. And they ConACYT receives, for example, your passport, copy of your Mexican passport, copy of your voting card, for example. Those are two IDs that are accepted by ConACYT. Another thing that's important to take in consideration in terms of eligibility, and this is exclusively for people who received support from ConACYT for their master's students. So if you did not receive support for ConACYT for your master's students, you don't have to worry about this. But if you did, then you must have your Carta de Liberación ready. So you must be able to prove that you fulfilled all the requirements that ConACYT expects from somebody who received previous support. So that's all in terms of eligibility. Like I said, pretty simple. And now, in general, what does the scholarship include? So for 2024, awardees receive up to 5 years of funding, which includes support for tuition for up to $11,744 per year. And this, it's important to notice at this point that this amount does not roll over from year to year. So you use it 1 year. If you don't use the full amount, you cannot, like I said, roll it over. But the amount renews every year. So every, depending on when the start of your, when you start your program, every year at the anniversary of the start, you will get this amount for the next year. You also get a monthly stipend of $1,100 if you're single, or $1,375 if you have dependents. And ConACYT provides support of $715 per year towards health insurance, and higher if you have dependents. So this specific amounts of how much support you would get if you have dependents for health insurance, you can see it in the call. So that they have all those amounts in detail. It is very important to point out, and this is something that's great about the agreement between ConACYT and UT System, that per the agreement, Context Fellows receive in-state tuition for the duration of the scholarship. So another thing that's important to point out is that as long as you have your Context Scholarship, for example, this is independent of whether you have a TA position or a GRA position. At this point, you will get in-state tuition just by the fact that you are a Context Fellow. I know we have people from different institutions or who are thinking of applying to different institutions within the UT system. So the different institutions provide or give in-state tuition via different programs, and it's important that you find out what the mechanism is for your specific institution. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So at UTSA, they receive in-state tuition through the Border County program. At UTEP, it's through the PASE program. At UT Austin, you have to contact Texas Global, and they do it through a competitive scholarship. So once you receive funding from ConACYT, it's important that you get in touch with your international office to start the process of applying for in-state tuition, or the paperwork that you need to submit to get in-state tuition. And the reason why I say, this is a great benefit is because in-state tuition represents almost half of what the out-of-state tuition would be for a person who does not have this benefit. So the amount that CONACYT is providing is pretty competitive with in-state tuition. And we'll have time later for questions about this if you have any. So eligibility criteria, levels of support. Now we're going to talk about priority areas. And this is a big table, and you probably cannot read all the specific fields that they support. But what I wanted to point out here with this is that the call is pretty wide. It covers many disciplines. Almost all areas are represented. So once again, please go into the call. And I think it's pages 3 through 5. They have listed all the areas there. Go over them in detail. You may have questions about this, right? You may be in a very specific area and you're not sure if your area is covered by the call. So I would recommend you do two things. One, you can always go into the ConTex website and see what previous awardees were studying, what their fields of study were, to get an idea. And if you cannot find anything there on the list or on our list of awardees, I would recommend that you go directly to CONACYT and ask them, just confirm, hey, my area of study is not listed per se. Am I eligible to apply? And when I say contact CONACYT, I'm recommending that you get in touch with there's contact information on the last page of the call. So check it out. And just they're very responsive. So just write or call and double check if your area of study is included in the call. But like I said, take a look at this. It's pretty wide, right? It's social studies, hard sciences, education, linguistics, and so on. So that's pretty nice. In terms of the application steps, once again, this is pretty simple. Just three steps. One, and I'm once again, underline this because it's important. In order to apply for the CONACYT scholarship, you must have been admitted to the doctoral program of your choice at any of the UT system institutions. Two, we ask that you register with ConTex. And this is a very simple registration form. The only thing we want really is to know that you're interested, to know that you're working on your application. Get your contact information so that we can support you, be with you throughout the process, support you throughout the process. And once you're admitted, we also continue supporting you, from the moment that you get the support until you graduate. So register with us so that we can accompany you through the process. And then the last step is to apply and be awarded a CONACYT scholarship. And you can find the scholarship application via this link. I know you're not going to copy the link right now and check it out right away, but we are going to share this slide. So you will have access to the link, to the CONACYT website where you can find the application or the call. And you will also have the link where you can register with ConTex. So these are the steps. I don't know if there are any questions at this point, Paloma. If not, we can continue and then answer everything at the end. In terms of the requirements, and this, you can see this is a very succinct slide. The requirements are larger and more detailed. But right here, we're just summarizing the main points that the ConTex team throughout the years has realized that are the most important for a successful application. And this may seem very simple and very intuitive, but sometimes we realize that applicants do not follow exactly all the requirements on the call. And when I say exactly all, I mean exactly all. CONACYT is strict about this. So let me give you an example. CONACYT is requesting that you send the acceptance letter with all the information that they're requiring, so full name. And for us Mexicans, we tend to have more than one name, right? Sometimes a name and a middle name, and sometimes 3 names. So if you have 3 names, please make sure that the letter says exactly the name as it is on your Mexican ID. If you have 3 names, have the 3 names listed, and your father's last name and your mother's last name. If the call is asking, for example, for you to submit a translation, they call it simple translation of the acceptance letter. So that means that you have to turn in your letter in English, your acceptance letter in English, and then you can translate the letter. That's what a simple translation means. You don't have to have it notarized or anything like that. You can translate it, but you have to turn it in. So if you don't turn in the translation, CONACYT may reject your application. We've talked about this already, but take in consideration the priority areas. And if you have any questions, don't give up right away. Just get in touch with CONACYT and confirm if your area is included in the call or not. And then the 2 last recommendations that we have are more general, but I think they're very important. Just a little background here, which is important. CONACYT has a 2-step evaluation process. The first step is an administrative review of the application, and the second step is an academic evaluation. So on the administrative review, they'll double check whether you meet all the requirements on their call, right? Like I said, that you have the translation to Spanish of the application letter, that your pre-proposal is signed by you. So all the administrative requirements, that's what they review right here. Once your application is confirmed to meet all these requirements, then it moves forward to an academic evaluation. That's where the CONACYT, through its evaluators, will double check, will confirm that you're submitting a high quality application, right? And that what your research project is about makes sense in terms of your field of study and your area. So they are asking you for a research pre-proposal. Important, once again, let's talk about this right now. It's a pre-proposal. They're not asking you to submit your dissertation at this time, but it has to make sense, right? It must be a topic that is relevant in your area. Your research methods must make sense in terms of your research area. So make sure that you provide a strong research proposal, pre-proposal, because your academic evaluation will be based on the quality of this document. They're not asking this year that your mentor, your advisor sign the document, but I would recommend just, work with your advisor here or in Mexico. Make sure that it makes sense. So having that feedback from an academic, somebody who's already an expert in the field, is very important. And then our last recommendation, evaluators want to see a strong commitment from applicants to go back to Mexico and to contribute to the development of the country. And they ask you this, they want to hear your thoughts on this through the essay questions and the return plan, right? This is important and it makes sense. I mean, Mexico's making an effort to send people abroad to get prepared to study at the best institutions in the world, in this case, at the UT system institutions. So they want people to go back and support the development of Mexico. And I mean, if you can add to this the fact that the scholarships are supported with taxpayers' money, right? So evaluators do want to see a strong commitment, and they want to see what your plans are when you go back to contribute. So pay attention to the pre-proposal. Pay attention to the essay questions, think about it and make good arguments of why it's important to come and study abroad here at the UT system institutions, but what you will do once you get back, how you will use this new knowledge to contribute to the development of Mexico. And then these are this is also important information, and these are the dates the important dates for the application process throughout. So the application opened March 27th, so it's open right now, but it closes May 24th. That means that if you do not submit your application by 11:59 p.m. on May 24th, CONACYT will not receive your application, and they're really strict about that. And it's an automated system, so the system just shuts down and that's it. You cannot submit your application. So we recommend, this is another recommendation from our experience throughout the years, do not wait until May 24th to submit your application. Really, it doesn't work. It'll be very stressful for you. So make sure you submit it early. If there's a technical problem with CONACYT and you try to submit it 2 days early, you'll have time to fix it. If you try to submit on May 24th, probably, there are going to be a lot of people doing the same thing. The system may freeze, so don't wait until then. The other advantage of submitting early is that you give CONACYT more time to give you feedback or ask you to make corrections if you need to make corrections to your application. This is, moving on. So CONACYT, and this is something that they implemented a few years ago, but it's worked really well. It's been a great addition to the application process, is they added a period of corrections, and they call it periodo de inconsistencias. That's how you'll find it on the call. And this is a period of time where CONACYT reviews your application and decides, identifies or if you have any requirements that are missing, or if any of your documents is lacking something or it's incorrect, CONACYT will get in touch with you and say, hey, on your acceptance letter, it's not signed by the appropriate person at the institution. Please get it signed. So you'll have this time to make corrections. CONACYT will use one or two channels to communicate with you. It'll be either through an email or their platform where you submit your application. So make sure at this time, during this period, to keep an eye out for communications from CONACYT, because it may be important. That's not the way I should say, because it for sure will be important. So make sure you pay attention to this so that you can make the corrections if need be, right? If after June 14th you did not make the corrections, then your application will, most probably be rejected on administrative basis, and then it will not move forward to the academic evaluation. So make sure to pay attention to any communication with CONACYT during this period. The results will be announced on August 2nd, and the deadline to accept the award is March 31st, 2025. Why is this deadline of March 31st important? It is because if for whatever reason you decided that you want to postpone the start of your program from the fall to the spring, you can still apply for this call, and you're still eligible to receive the support, even if you're starting in the spring, as long as your program starts before March 31st, 2025, and as long as you accept the award. They call it formalizar. As long as you formalize your award before this date, you're eligible to receive support. So these are the most important dates. These are the dates that you have to pay attention to. And like I said, that's the most relevant general information about the call that we feel that you need to pay attention to. But at this point, if you have any questions, if there's anything that you want us to go over, please let us know, either Dr. Carmona, Paloma, or myself. And Paloma, I see you have some questions.
Just one, Olivia. I have a question here. Does the pre-proposal have to be translated?
No, the pre-proposal can be in English, and it doesn't have to be translated. But I recommend that, like I said, go over every section of the call and make sure that you meet everything that they're asking for. As far as I know, the only things that need to be translated to Spanish are the acceptance letter and the degree plan. So all the classes that you're taking, you have to translate to Spanish. That's the answer to the question, Paloma.
Thank you, Olivia. But it has to be in English. That was the point the person was asking.
But yeah, definitely. This scholarship is for Mexican students who are coming to UT system institutions. So the UT system institution will, or the mentor will, in most probability, review the pre-proposal in English. So yes, it is in English. And
sorry. I'm sorry. No, I thought you were finished. Sorry.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Another question. If you have funding and ConTex, who pays for the tuition and health insurance? ConTex or the funding? How does it work?
That's a very good question, and I'm glad you brought it up. So CONACYT is aware that the funding that they're providing may not be enough to cover everything that entails coming to a UT system institution to study, do a PhD program, right? So they encourage students to find additional funding. So in terms of the health insurance, it's very simple, right? If CONACYT is providing $715 if you're single, or a little more if you have dependents, well, if your program is paying the full amount of tuition, then have your program pay the full amount for health insurance, then your program will pay the full amount for health insurance, right? No question there. In terms of tuition, we've had different scenarios, but if the program specifically at certain institutions, so UT Dallas is a little more expensive than the other institutions. So what we've done there with our fellows at UT Dallas is that the ConTex-Conahcyt Fellowship pays up to the amount that they were awarded, so 11,000 and something this year, and per year, and then the difference is covered by the department. So in general, what we recommend is have the CONACYT ConTex scholarship pay up to the amount that you were awarded, and then the difference can be covered by your department. Sometimes it happens at some other institutions. It's happened sometimes at UT Austin, for example, where the ConTex-Conahcyt funding is enough to cover the spring and the fall semester, and then the department pays for the summer. So, once you get the CONACYT support, and once you know what the support from your department is, then we could talk about it on a one-on-one basis to see what's best for you and what's more, what helps better with, or what helps you more in terms of your funding availability. Paloma.
We have another comment. They want to know if this is the same as having a GRA or a TA position, where health insurance is provided as well as the tuition reduction.
Yes, and that's also a good question. So yes, the GRA or the TA position have certain benefits. So in general, GRAs, GRA-ships and TA-ships provide benefits such as health insurance. So yes, health insurance would be paid through your TA-ship position. But what's important to point out here is, your CONACYT will pay for tuition up to the amount that they give you, and then you can use the tuition reduction benefit from your department to pay for the difference. That would be a savings for your department. But the main point, I think, is that if you have a TA-ship or a GRA-ship, the CONACYT ConTex Fellowship is supposed to complement your support. So you'll get a certain stipend payment for your work as a TA or a GRA. And then the ConTex-Conahcyt Context Fellowship pays you, and I wouldn't call it a stipend specifically in terms of what ConTex-Conahcyt gives you, more of a monthly support because it's not related to work. So you will receive your monthly support regardless of whether you work or not, right? So ConTex-Conahcyt Context will still provide the 1,100 per month of support, and you will be receiving your monthly stipend as a GRA. They'll be paying you X amount, right, per month. And another thing that's very important to point out is that ConTex-Conahcyt does not set a cap on the amount that you can be paid as a GRA or a TA in your specific institution. So that amount is set by the institution in terms of the guidelines of the institution, of the levels that certain positions and disciplines receive at your institution. So you can get as a stipend from your institution more than the 1,100 per month that you will be getting from ConTex-Conahcyt. And so you would add it to the amount you receive from ConTex-Conahcyt. Travis.
Yeah, we've had several additional questions. The earliest one here is asking, with regard to the doctoral program, if it applies to studying both master and PhD together.
No. So for the ConTex program, the funding is exclusive for PhD studies for people who have been admitted to a PhD program directly. So what does that mean? We do not fund students who were admitted into a master's program who are working towards a PhD program. For the ConTex program, it's exclusively for students who were admitted directly to the PhD. And when I say directly, it's important to point out that students may already have a previous master's degree, and then they were admitted to the PhD program, and so they're eligible to receive ConTex funding, or the other potential case where a student coming out of just their undergrad, their bachelor's, and they're admitted directly without the master's requirement, they're admitted into the PhD program, that's acceptable. I mean, they are eligible to join ConTex. So I think that answers the question. Just another thing to point out, even though the ConTex program is exclusive for PhD studies, ConTex-Conahcyt does support master's programs. They do give fellowships for master's programs. So if you're interested in applying for a master's program at this time, you can go into the ConTex-Conahcyt website and look at the call, do your master's, and then come back with us. And we would like to hear from you once you're ready to do your PhD program. Paloma.
Yeah, another question. This person, if the tuition and health insurance are fully funded by the department, can the funds that ConTex-Conahcyt gives, the tuition cap and the health insurance, be applied to the fellowship?
That's something that you would have to work out with your department. We don't have any say in that. So we can tell you that we will pay up to the maximum amount of tuition that you were awarded. If your department decides that, since they're obviously going to be saving some funds from what they had already allocated for your financial support, if they decide that they can use those funds to support, for example, travel to conferences or books, or if they decide that they can reimburse you for that amount, great. But that's for you to negotiate or to talk to your department about. But we have no say in that.
Another, Olivia, if la carta de liberación of the current support is issued between June and July, would the person have time to apply to the ConTex-Conahcyt Fellowship?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, if we go by the letter of what it says on the call, it says that you have to have your carta de liberación before the deadline, which is May 24th. I would recommend at that, regarding that specific question, get in touch with CONACYT and ask them. But as far as I can tell, unfortunately, you would have to wait until next year once you have your carta de liberación in hand, and then you can apply for the doctoral fellowship. But I would say, you know what, no se pierde con preguntar, no se pierde nada con preguntar, just confirm with CONACYT and email the contact person on the very last page of the call and see what they say about that. More questions, Paloma. I'm glad to hear.
Yeah. Current PhD students, what's the limit to apply for a fellowship with ConTex, right? Which semester do they need to be in?
With ConTex, you're eligible to apply to a scholarship with ConTex if when you receive the support, you're starting your third year. That's your 5th semester. So you can apply if you are just starting the program, if you're in your 1st or 2nd year. If you've already completed your 3rd year and you just have 1 more year to go, you're not eligible to join ConTex. You're eligible to apply to the CONACYT Fellowship. They don't have that restriction, but you cannot join ConTex. You must have 2 years to go on the day that you receive, when you receive, I wouldn't go by the day, but when you receive your support, you must have 2 years to go of your program.
Another question is regarding how the results were published last year, because the person didn't receive an email or found the results on the website.
Last year was different from previous years. So in previous years, CONACYT would publish the list of CBUs that were awarded. Last year, they did it differently. So if you were awarded, CONACYT would sent personalized emails to the people who were awarded. So unfortunately, if you did not receive an email, you were not awarded, and they did not publish openly the list of CBUs on their website. This year, what we understand, and please keep in mind, pay attention, they changed the CBU to número de perfil único. So they're using a different number to identify the applicants. Make sure that you create your perfil, your número de perfil único, because that's what they're going to use to track your application and to announce the results. It is our understanding that this year they will publish the números de perfil único of the people who received the award. And every year, what they do is, if you're awarded, they will get in touch with you a few days after they announce the results, and they will give you instructions on how to proceed. So basically, how they'll send you information about the number of months and the amount that they're offering you as support. Then once you accept it, they tell you, they ask you a document so that you can sign the contract, and then how to process the debit card and so on and so forth. So for people who receive the scholarship, they will receive an email, but it is our understanding that this year they will publish a list of números de perfil único. Paloma.
Yeah. Can you go over what's the main difference between applying through ConTex and applying to CONACYT through its standalone document?
Well, then I'm going to throw in some publicity for us here. I think we're a great team. Yes. We're a great team and a great tool to support the students. So if you apply independently through to CONACYT without us, well, then you negotiate with CONACYT. If you have any problems, you go directly to CONACYT. If you have any issues with the payment, you have to coordinate with CONACYT and then make sure that they coordinate with your school. We are a great instrument in regards to the fact that we do that work for you. So we facilitate everything for you so that you can focus on your studies and your research. So, and this is going into a little more detail than I thought we would, but for example, if you are a Context Fellow, you will not have to worry about paying your tuition or who will be paying your tuition. We will pay your tuition on time, always. And then we turn around and we charge CONACYT and we say, you know what, for Paloma Perry, we paid this amount of tuition for this semester, please reimburse us. So you have no problem about that. And then we support you, you know, throughout the process in terms of what are the procedures you had to do. We help you with paperwork. Another thing that's important, and also this is a little more detailed, but in terms of the funding, CONACYT for Context Fellows, CONACYT provides 4 years of support, and we provide up to 12 additional months of support if the fellow, if the student needs it to complete their doctoral program. So you will receive 4 years of support from CONACYT, and you have the option of another year if you are not done with your program. So those are, I think, good reasons to consider applying through to CONACYT and through Context. I mean, becoming a Context Fellow. Lupita, you were going to add maybe?
Yeah, just add one very important thing, which is they get the in-state tuition with the agreement that we have with CONACYT. So then the tuition is extends for a lot more months.
That's a very good point. So you are not necessarily guaranteed in-state tuition if you are not a Context Fellow. You would have to hope that you have a TA-ship every semester or a GRA-ship, which may not happen, right? So with the Context Fellowship, you're guaranteed in-state tuition throughout the duration of your scholarship. Paloma.
Yeah, thank you. If somebody applied to the CONACYT fellowship last year, do they need to update the número de perfil único?
Yes, because they changed it from CVU. Last year it was still a CVU, and this year it's a número de perfil único. So yes, I'm not exactly sure what that entails from what we have heard from our contacts at CONACYT. It's not too cumbersome, but yes, you will have to update your or switch to a número de perfil único.
And the follow-up question is like, do you know how many fellowships are awarded as a percentage of everybody? What's the percentage awarded?
I wish I knew. If you find out, let me know. I don't know.
It's a mystery.
Exactly. What I can say is that, you know, Context applicants have been successful. So we've had a good rate of success. I would say, you know, pay attention to all the details, that all the requirements, try to, you know, write the best pre-proposal possible and run it through your advisor. Even though I don't know that number, and I doubt anybody outside of CONACYT knows that number, and we don't know it, I would say that Context applicants have had good success. So, you know, I would say just focus on the application more than on the rate of success at this point.
Another question, Olivia. It's the comment is the National Science Foundation considers a multidisciplinary research a priority. Does CONACYT, in our experience, views interdisciplinary research as a more competitive application?
Honestly, that's not something that I think I have the knowledge to respond, but I can say that CONACYT has priority areas that have changed throughout the years that I have been the academic program coordinator. So, you know, in 2020, they focused on health, for example, you know, issues. And at this, on this call, they opened it up a lot more. And so I don't know if they actually weigh interdisciplinary proposals or applications higher than non-interdisciplinary, but what I can say is that, you know, if it's a strong proposal in terms of the disciplines that are a priority to CONACYT, it should be evaluated highly. So, and at this, you know, right now, I would say that many proposals or many fields of study are interdisciplinary. We've been talking to researchers about it lately, actually, as of yesterday, right? How you realize that there are other important fields that are also important to what you're researching. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know if they are specifically looking for interdisciplinary. Just make sure that your application falls within one or several of their priority areas.
We have another question. Somebody's doing the bachelor's to PhD program. In other words, a doctorado directo.
Directo, right.
Means the first year was only to complete the master's requirements. Does that first year still count as part of the PhD?
If the program,
they are eligible to the scholarship.
it has to be part of the PhD program. So if the degree plan says the first 2 semesters, these are the classes that you're going to take, then yes. If those classes fall within a master's degree plan and not within a PhD degree plan, then no, they're not eligible for the context support. It has to be you know, part of the doctoral degree plan. And Lupita, you have a comment about this.
May I clarify, Professor Mogollon?
Yes, how are you?
Very good, thank you. At UT Arlington, we have the bachelor's to PhD program, which is a doctorado directo. But the way I do it is I force the students. I establish it as part of their doctoral program, the satisfaction of the equivalent requirements of the master's degree. It's part of their doctoral program. They don't get awarded a master's degree, but I simply establish it as their advisor as part of the doctoral degree. But the course numbers, the course catalog, are master's level catalog. So that's a little gray area, and hopefully that still qualifies.
Lupita, you're going to comment on that. And thank you for your question.
Yeah, it's a very important question. I think that if the letter of acceptance says PhD program, then that validates what you are saying. And there are several degrees, doctorate degrees that come from undergraduates. And for example, at the time of the comps, then the institution also awards a master's program, but the intent of the student and the letter of acceptance says doctorate.
Okay, I'll write the letters in double column this year. English on the left, Spanish on the right. That way there won't be problems.
And on the acceptance letter, they're asking this year for you to clarify whether, well, for the institution to clarify whether the student has been admitted to the PhD program as a doctorado directo, which is what you're talking about, or whether they have a previous master's. So if they have a previous master's, the acceptance letter must say, for example, Paloma Perry was admitted into the applied demography program with a prior master's in demography from El Colegio de México. So if it's a doctorado directo, it would say Paloma Perry has been admitted into the PhD program in applied demography directly from a bachelor's degree in demography, for example. So they asked for that clarification. But what Dr. Carmona said is absolutely accurate, very important. That the acceptance letter must say that it's you know, for a PhD program.
Can you go over, Olivia, please? If you apply in the second semester, will CONACYT give the person 5 years or 4 years of fellowship?
No, CONACYT only gives the number of months up to the 4 years. So let's just say if you didn't get it your first year, you didn't get the support your first year, but you get it your second year, CONACYT will give you 3 years not 4. CONACYT will give you 3 years. And if you're a ConTex fellow, ConTex or UT system through ConTex will give you an additional year, but CONACYT will only give you 3 years. If you apply at the start and you receive the support at the start of your 5th semester, that's at the start of your 3rd year, CONACYT will give you 2 years, and then you're eligible for an additional year from CONACYT. So that's very clear on the call. CONACYT will only give you support of the number of months up to the completion of your program. And I think that's clear, right, Paloma?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Somebody started a PhD 2 years ago, but still have 4 more years to go. Is this person eligible?
Well, yes. So you're eligible to apply to CONACYT at any point in time. It's up to them to give you funding or not. In terms of context, you're eligible to apply if you're starting up to the start of your 3rd year. So you already did 2 years, you have two more years to go for your program. If your program is 7 years, in duration, and it happens sometimes, not on the degree plan per se, but I've heard of some, for example, anthropology dissertations that are pretty long because of the field work. So you will get support from CONACYT, and let's just say that you received the support on your 1st year. You will get 4 years of support from CONACYT. You will get 1 additional year of support from ConTex. That's 5 years. If you have 2 more years to go, then you will have to get additional funding from your department, from your school, out of pocket. But the duration of the scholarship is up to 5 years, no more than that.
Olivia, in terms of formatting the pre-proposal, do you know anything about having to be double space? What kind of a format? APA format? I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, it's how you format the references and things like that. So it's a specific style. Please go into the call and read the specific requirements about the pre-proposal. The only specific thing that I can recall at this point specifically about that is that it cannot be more than 3 pages long. So please stick to the 3 pages. That's what they're asking for. So regarding that question, just go to the call. I don't think they're as specific as to ask, do APA instead of Chicago. No, I don't think they're specific as that. But whatever they're asking, pay attention to. So I don't know if they say anything about the spacing or the size of the font. I don't recall at this time. But if it's on the call, then do it. If it's not on the call, then don't do it. It's not necessarily important. I don't know how we're doing in terms of time. I think we're good, right? We can keep going.
We're just hitting 11 o'clock now.
Okay, Paloma, one more question, if there's one.
Yeah, let's see. How long does it take to do all the process? Do you have to, since you have to find the supervisor till you receive the support?
No, you don't have to find a supervisor once you receive the support, no. So, if you're applying for a PhD, it would be a fair assumption to think that you've had some contact with researchers in your field. So you will maybe not have a specific advisor at your UT system institution necessarily from the very beginning, but chances are that you know somebody, a professor in that department. So you can get advice for your pre-proposal from the professor at your department, at the UT system institution, but not necessarily. You can also go and ask for advice from a professor from your undergrad, if you're going to directly to the PhD, or from your master's program. So if the question is, in terms of an advisor for your pre-proposal, it can be anybody in Mexico or the US who's in the field and who has experience and knows the subject matter. So we've had cases where students receive the CONACYT ConTex support without them at this point necessarily having defined an advisor at the UT system institution. Sometimes it takes longer. They're a group of people that they would like to work with, and it takes a while to decide who they're actually going to be working with specifically, right? So no problem about that.
And start the application early, no?
Oh, that's another thing. Turn it in as soon as possible. And it's not only because you had to fill out certain amounts of information, it's because you had to ask for documents. So you may have to ask for a complement to the acceptance letter, just because the original acceptance letter that you received from your institution does not have all the information required by CONACYT. And by the way, if that's a problem that you have, email me. We have a template that we can share with you that has all the information that CONACYT requires. But then you would have to ask your department to fill out that document, right? So it'll take some time. You ask people for documents, and they may take a few days to have it ready. So you will have to write the pre-proposal and ask your advisor, a professor that you work with. You will ask that person to look at the document. So it takes some time. So like Paloma said, general advice, start sooner than later. And in terms of how long it takes, well, it depends on how much time you have to work on the proposal, right? If it's your full-time job at this time, it may not take that long. But if you're working on something else, well, it will take longer. What I wanted to point out at this time, and being mindful of your time, we are at the hour right now. I know that we may not have answered all your questions at this point in time. I know that you may have other questions once you start working on the application, or once you keep working on the application. So here's my contact information. Feel free to get in touch with me. Email is the best. So feel free to send me an email. I will do my best to support you and guide you. I will reply to your email. The top one, this is my work email. This is the general context email. You can always copy or send the message with a copy to that email, so that Paloma, Dr. Carmona, Travis can also look at it. But we're more than welcome to support you. We will post these slides, this presentation, on our website. So if you go to the ConTex website, it's context.utsystem.edu. And if you go to on the navigation bar, if you go to publications and then presentations, you will see a copy of this presentation. Travis will post it this afternoon, and you will see the video of the session. So you will have access to those two resources. And like I said, please feel free to contact me, Paloma, or Travis at any time if you have any questions. We wish you a lot of success in your application process, and we're here to support you. So if you are interested in applying yourself, go for it. I think it's a great opportunity. If you have a student, a Mexican student who's doing a PhD program at your institution, please encourage them to apply. If you have friends in the program, please help us spread the word about this great opportunity, and we'll be happy to work with each one of you. So at this point, Paloma, Lupita, I don't have anything else to say. I don't know if you have any closing remarks. No?
Just thank you to everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good Friday.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for participating. And
Thank you
we
very
hope to hear
much.
from you. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.